The privilege of being able to be a community leader is far beyond, thinking about monetizing on somebody's health and happiness.
Welcome back, everybody. Rich Ruger, Shanghai-based social entrepreneur, talking with Vivu today from Fitfam. Just had a great conversation about an organization that she's been participating in, been a driver of for the last 4 years, where they are basically building communities of individuals getting out, getting off the couch multiple times a week together and building that community over the last 4 years. So it's been a really interesting conversation about how do you look at community, how do you follow, or how do you understand your 1,000 core users, and then kind of take it from there. Do me a favor and just introduce yourself and the work that you do at Fitfam.
My name is Vivu. I am one of the community leaders at Fitfam, and we are a free fitness community powered and run by the community for the community. And we've been running for it's almost 4 years now. Okay. So, yeah.
And then how did this get started? You had these little pop-up fitness things going every week. What was the starting point and where are you guys now?
So we're an offcut of a different fitness group. So when this fitness group sort of closed down, we kind of kept on going. So me and a handful of friends met at Luan Stadium. And basically we just wanted to keep each other motivated. We met every single morning at 6 a.m. Every day except for Sunday. So Sunday was always a rest day. And we just we started to write our own workouts, and then lead them, and then learn from them, and then the next time we would improve that. And it was always sort of this sharing community. And so, it was this little chat group where we're sort of egging each other on just to be there. Right. I'll be there tomorrow. I've got this great workout, and so it just became this sort of dialogue between us as friends that motivated us to get out.
Yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of people who all were sitting on the couch I wish I could get my butt off the couch and actually go and work out and get healthy or whatever. And then it's and then you actually all just did it.
Yeah, but it's just it's honestly I'll go if you go.
Yeah.
Well, you go, or wait, I've got to drag a friend in, and so it's just sort of that motivation, that accountability of having somebody else go, I've got to work out, you better come and see me on Monday morning. I'll be there.
Okay, so you started off with this group of 10.
Yeah.
How does it grow and how big are you now?
It's all been word of mouth, basically. And then the reasons why we've grown into other locations is because for us we wanted to have that convenience of fitness nearby. And so I had started with another girl, Jingan Stadium, and then they had started Jiatong University because that was close by to their house, and we automatically just sort of started sprouting. From now, there's 35 locations in Shanghai, and then we've just grown into. So today, Hangzhou just opened up their first session. We've got Changzhou, Wuxi.
Wow.
Opening up. So Wenzhou has been also trialing. Beijing has been going for quite some time now, and then the same thing of. Because Shanghai's so transient, which has been incredible because we've been able to then grow into international cities. So we've got a really large network now in Hong Kong, which has been going very, very strong. And then we've also got Toronto, we've got Huntington Beach in California.
Oh my God. So you've got dozens of cities now that are either up and running or potentially going to start pretty soon.
Yeah, so
you're spreading. And then how many people participate, say, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
So in Shanghai, we've got about 4,000.
I remember the early days. I just saw my WeChat exploding with kind of pictures early in the morning. It always seemed to be kind of the same people. It all seemed to be very community focused. How much of that was kind of critical to this growth?
Everything. Everything about that is critical to the growth of what Fitfam is today. What we find is that it's so much more than just a workout, and we really try and make it every workout an experience.
Right.
So everything from like music choice, where we might, you know, share that responsibility, and like somebody's a DJ for the day, or you know, the types of workouts that we do. So they're usually really quite interactive. That they might be like group kind of work, or like partners and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that, you know, it's not just another group class.
Right.
And so for us, you know, to be able to, on a day-to-day basis, interact with someone new or meet someone new, you know, forms really interesting friendships, and, you know, it's yeah, so tech and everything.
I mean, actually, it's really amazing to think like how big this has grown. You're all volunteers, right?
Yeah.
You all have full-time jobs on the side, or something else on the side, right? It's just community driven. So as this grows, I guess the question that we were talking about is like, you're being offered a lot in terms of like business opportunities, like to turn this into something. What's that consideration for you? Like you kind of showed some like resistance to it. Like what's the balance here? Because it's totally community fueled, but you have a huge business in reality without the money. Like you have everything but the money. So what's the balance, or like how do you look at this going forward?
What we'd like to be able to do is stay independent for as long as possible.
Okay.
So I think that the power of what Fitfam is that there are no ulterior motives. We just want to sweat and meet other people. I mean, the beauty of what Fitfam is what it is now. It's run by volunteers. You know, we're not looking for. I'm not looking for a new job, and you know, and I'm not, you know, and it's just, it is important to me, and you know, the managing committee, that we do stay true to those values, and it's free fitness, for one. We'd like to also be able to self-sustain. So there are, I mean, we do have things like our apparel that we are able to, you know, fund, for instance, our mini program and our website costs, and like those little costs. The actual costs of what Fitfam is right now, it's not a ton.
Right.
So we're able to now fund it with some apparel sales and things like that.
Okay.
So for as long as we can do that, we'll keep doing that.
Yeah.
And then also from our events as well. So from our events, and these are great for instance, growth for us.
Yeah.
And like visibility, and like, you know, bringing in that new and the growth of, you know, new participants, and then also new cities. You know, that for us, being able to put a shirt on somebody that's really proud of being part of the community is more what's important than, you know,
the structure of the
business. And you know, and it's and once it becomes a lot more businessy, it also becomes less fun. So you know, for all of us, we do it because we love it. You know, I know for myself, the things that Fitfam has helped me in so many ways professionally, and personally, and you know, like 90% of my friends are Fitfam friends, you know, or like, you know, people that I met through various things around and surrounding Fitfam. And you know, me leading workouts has done incredible things for, you know, my public speaking skills. Sure. Because before this, I was incredibly petrified. Petrified. If you'd ever seen me do a speech before this, I was like frantically, and you could see me like shaking.
Now she's only a little bit. Only a little bit.
Just with the coffee. So you know, like I think about what this has brought to me, that confidence, the privilege of being able to be a community leader is far beyond, you know, thinking about monetizing on somebody's health and happiness. So for us, we would like to stay as pure as we possibly can. For as long as possible.
How does that change how you look at the decisions you have to make about growth, about programming, about different business things that you need to do, like you're very sensitive to the community's needs, almost as a priority over what the organization or the structure or whatever else needs. So how do you balance those decisions sometimes? Because a normal gym would be like, this is we need this for the business, we need this for the gym, we need it, and like we'll worry about the members later, right? But you guys are really community first, not even members, just community first.
Yeah.
So how does that change your decisions?
I'm going to say we're not really about the growth as such. We prefer, and we talk about, so consistency is one of our values, but we prefer the one person coming back to us 3 or 4 days a week than being in another 60 cities. So that's nice to say, but what we would really prefer is a really memorable and like that kind of commitment from like our members, and knowing that we are different from anything else out there, and that so quality over quantity, I think, for us at the moment. The quantity just happens because the quality is there. And so, if we always think about it, almost only about the community factor, because Fitfam doesn't exist without those, these people. And it's so much about the volunteers, and then it's so much about the participants. It's less about the managing committee. We're just being able to serve those needs of the community. And so
So when you're looking at how to make, I guess, whether it's grow, change, add, whatever it may be, how much of the management committee, how much time do you spend like with the community to understand like what their needs are versus you guys just have your vision for where it's going?
We're all multifaceted, so we are, not only are we part of the managing committee, but we are also leaders and we are also participants. So when we're doing any sort of big changes, and it's usually quite slow. So you can imagine, we're trying to do this in our spare time and everything, but it's always, the community tells us what they want. And what's great is it's always a work in progress anyways. And being volunteer, we're just feeling it out. If we make a bad decision here, it's probably not going to be the end of the world. So we'll make a decision, whichever way it goes, we'll learn from that, and then we'll make a better decision the next time.
Your communities could, they're very fueled by how close they are. So how what do you need to do? What do you find you need to do to make sure that community like maintains really strong, really tight, and everyone's kind of going forward?
In terms of connection and keeping that really strong, we set up basically like a framework for volunteers, and then, but outside of that, you have free reign. So you're able to be creative in whatever type of workouts you want to do and all of that sort of stuff. So it can work towards your strengths and, and what the individual communities need. We're all part of this bigger picture, but people are able to have control of how they communicate in their groups. And
so then what's the structuring that you give them that's like, look, this is what we need, these are our 3 pillars, these are our core values. What is it that you give, what is it that you have that's absolutely core that they have to maintain then?
So consistency is obviously one of our values. So whichever day you want to do, if you want to lead one on a Saturday and that's the only day that you want to do, that's fine. But it will probably be every single Saturday. And so the idea of why that is because we'd like for the community to know that you'll always be there. Where we find the best leaders is not, we don't sort of just pluck someone out and say, oh great, you're ready. Generally, the best leaders are the participants that have gone from the couch to being empowered and active and setting great routines, to then really feeling empowered to be able to put their hand up, or being asked to, oh look, you've been with us for a little while, and so they already embody what Fitfam is. They are the product of what we hope.
There were some things I noticed when this was coming up that were very similar to what I saw with CrossFit coming up, and it's that community, and then how they really brought each other in, and they made sure that like if you weren't there, they'd call like, hey, where were you, blah blah blah. But then actually, like, CrossFit's become very commercial over time. I'm sure that you have all the brands like, hey, can we collaborate? Hey, can we sponsor? Hey, can we? When someone comes to you like that, how do you look at those opportunities? I don't know if you've actually taken sponsorships or not, but let's say like Adidas walked up and said, look, you've got this big group, we want to work together. How would you evaluate a business partnership like that? Or right now, are you just, we don't need it, we don't want it, and we're good?
We've worked with a lot of different brands before. So we consistently work with Nike, so we're working with them right now on Shanghai Marathon. We've worked with them the last 3 years, and they've been really great to us. We have worked with great partners here, like locations and things like that, like Golden Gloves, Cages, and then and other big brands as well. So like Lorna Jane, which is the Australian label. We are very happy to work with anyone on events and sort of that kind of longer vision, and so But
like Nike comes to you with an offer of whatever, like how do you evaluate the offer differently than if you say you were a normal gym?
I mean, it's always got to be win-win. So how I think about it is, what do we get out of it and what do they get out of it? And is it enough? Is this a great experience for us? How much time and effort do we put in, given that we're all volunteers? So it's sort of a time and effort versus impact. It's just people see the numbers and how we can be used as marketing and all of that sort of stuff, and that's great, and I totally understand that from a business perspective. But when you work with brands and they've never been to your workout and they don't understand what kind of workout that you're doing and why people are volunteering, this to me is sort of where we draw the line a little bit, because.
But why? I mean, I'm kind of curious. Like, what's the downside risk if they're like, look, we're Nike, we're just going to give you money? What's the downside risk that there's a mismatch for you?
Actually, money's never been put on the table. So it's always been a little bit more like, we'll collaborate together. So not Nike specifically, but like, so we'll collaborate together and co-host an event or something like that. Absolutely fine with that. But yeah, so it's just sort of more, it's more like that. So it's more like, event focused, or so it's not specifically like investment or anything.
Align your events and community to maybe their platform, or vice versa. But there's been no money to date in any of these sponsorships.
It hasn't been asked and it hasn't been offered. So I'm not saying that won't happen in the future, and that will probably be a different story after that. But we are very.
Most people like, I've got this like, I want to monetize this. I want to monetize my community, right? Like, that's really common. Like, it's more of our members sort of reaching out and saying, well, I've got money to invest. Do you, is this what you want? That is probably something that is not on the agenda anytime soon. We. Unless it was really appealing, or like really brought a lot of value and impact to what we already have, it's probably not going to be considered for a little while, actually. So it's not, it's not a priority for us to be invested in, and there's not, I don't particularly want to see like piles of money on the table. It's not really what we're about, and I think that
it sort of changes a little bit of our DNA once we start considering that. And I prefer to put a shirt on somebody's back and make sure that they're proud of being part of Fitfam than take money from somebody else and, then hire in people and, do all of these things that we wish that we could do.
If you wanted to.
Sure.
Right.
But it's not, I don't think that we want to do that anytime soon anyways. And maybe, and at this point, it's big enough but small enough to be able to manage in volunteer time.
Right.
And we're talking about 100 plus volunteers giving a little bit of their time, and this is one of the greatest and smoothest running organisations that I've ever been part of. And we're talking volunteer hours.
The passion's glue.
Yeah, exactly. And so keeping it as pure as we can for as long as possible is our priority.
When you look at building community, doing the right thing for community, what are a couple core principles that you as an individual or as a management team really hold up there as no, we have to do these things each time to make sure that our 1,000 true fans are taken care of?
For us, it's keep it personal. So, we hope to know everyone's names. There's nothing worse than not being noticed. We always make sure that there's a reason to come back. Whether there's the opportunity to try something new, or and so we love that variety. We always keep it fresh with having multiple leaders at one location, so that every different day it's a little bit different. There's always a reason to go. Being really genuine about our intentions is really important, because then that trust for those community leaders, that's why people want to come back and participate.